Speaker of the House of Representatives, Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila, says the Nigerian Constitution is below standard of what Nigerians desire and what could fix the challenges confronting the nation. And the INEC electoral umpire, INEC says it is ready for a digital registration of voters ahead of the 2023 election, where anyone can go online to register. Hello everyone and welcome to Politics Today live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Kimaloya, Channels Television's global headquarters here in Lagos, Nigeria. Let's begin the conversation tonight by telling you about the meeting between President Muhammadu Buhari, the chairman of INEC, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, and some national commissioners of the electoral umpire. The meeting comes on the heels of a series of attacks experienced by the commission on some of its facilities in parts of the country. At a meeting with the president at the presidential villa in Abuja, the members of the cabinet who were there in attendance. The president at that meeting is also sending a stern warning to those perpetrating violence and the killings we're seeing in the country, saying that those who want to destroy this country have shock coming their way. He went further. The president says, and I quote, "I received daily security reports on the attacks, and it is very clear that those behind them want this administration to fail. Insecurity in Nigeria is now mentioned all over the world. All the people who want power, whoever they are, you wonder what they really want. Whoever wants the destruction of the system will soon have the shock of their lives. We've given them enough time." The president added that, quote, "Those of us in the fields for 30 months who went through the war will treat them in the language they understand. We are going to be very hard sooner than later." On the violence on INEC offices in some parts of the country, the president pledged his support for the electoral umpire for the conduct of the elections in the country. He says, quote, "So that no one would say we do not want to go or that we want a third term, there will be no excuse for failure. We'll meet all INEC's demands," end of quote. And so while that was going on in Abuja, in the nation's capital, in Lagos, in the commercial hub, some top officials of INEC were in a brainstorming session, and they were there. We were told that the Independent National Electoral Commission will begin online voter registration exercise from the 28th of this month. The online continuous voter registration exercise, which will allow would-be voters and fourth-timers to register online, are those who want to adjust their details to do so with ease. Take a listen to the INEC National Commissioner giving us some more on that.
It's going to start on the 28th of June, and we are introducing the online registration, where people will be expected to register online and complete the registration physically in our various various designated locations. The commission will display the location where they will go to and get the forms out and fill.
So, for those of you who want to register, and you've been wondering, how do I get this done? So INEC is giving you, for the first time that we are seeing this kind of situation happening in our elections, you will be able to go online and register, and perhaps also tweak your registration details, maybe change your voting center and all of that. But when INEC comes out with the details later this month, we'll be able to have a hang on that, and Channel Television will put you through on some of that in our coverage. Before we get into today's conversation, let's check out some of your political roundup stories.
The Senate is mourning the death of a chieftain of the ruling All Progressives Congress, Mr. Ahmed Gulak, who was killed on Saturday in Owerri, the Imo State capital. The Senate condemned the killing and Nigeria's failing security and is calling on security agencies to investigate and bring to book all those behind his death.
It is very, very important that we step up our legislative intervention in ensuring that we protect the lives and property of Nigerians to reduce the incidence of 1 minute silence.
The governor of Edo State, Mr. Gordon Obaseki, believes that some of the congratulatory messages making the rounds in some social media platforms allegedly sent by his opponents over his victory at the Supreme Court is not a reflection of their true position. Mr. Obaseki was addressing supporters at the King Square axis of Benin City, the state capital, today, where he said if his opponents had wanted to congratulate him on his victory at the September 19, 2020 Edo governorship election, they would have done so a long time ago. Governor Obaseki makes his first public appearance back in the state after victory at the Apex Court.
I hear say that they congratulate us. I don't say that today.
The people of Kwara North Senatorial District in Kwara State are clamoring for the zone to produce the next governor in the year 2023, what they say is for the sake of equity and justice. At a prayer session organized by the Kwara North Stakeholders Consultative Forum in Bode, Saudu. The gathering, which cut across party lines, say the area has been neglected for years and should be allowed the slot.
So let's get down to our conversation tonight, everyone. Get a pen if you need to make some notes, because it's very important. We're talking about the future of this country and how we need to go for the future. So the House of Representatives have begun public hearing on the Constitution Amendment. The Green Chamber's edition of the process began today. You remember that the Senate and the Red Chambers held theirs a few days ago. So, and in Lagos, at the Lagos Center, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila, says the 1999 Constitution falls short of standard and needs to be adjusted to meet the aspirations of Nigerians. The Speaker was speaking today at the opening of the House of Reps public hearing in Lagos. The Speaker is asking Nigerians to join hands with the 9th National Assembly to birth a new document that will help in fixing some of the challenges the nation is confronted with. Take a listen to Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila.
Speaking and working Speaker.
A nation's constitution is the foundation of its existence. It is supposed to set the terms of our nationhood and define who we are in a manner that reflects both our common truths and highest aspirations. Our Constitution falls short of this standard because the 1999 Constitution is the product of a hurried national compromise that we entered into 2 decades ago in order to ensure that the military returned to the barracks and that we returned to democratic government. It was always the intention that we will one day, as one people and one nation, return to amend this document so that it gives voice to the yearnings of the Nigerian people and sets out in clear detail how we intend to achieve the shared ambitions of our nationhood. Providence has cast upon the 9th National Assembly the responsibility to write such a constitution for the Nigerian people. Yes, there is no perfect document, but we need a near-perfect constitution in Nigeria. We can achieve that through substantive amendments that significantly alter the character of our nation. Therefore, the task before us now is to use this process of review and amendment to devise for ourselves a constitution that resolves the issues of identity and political structure, of human rights and the administration of government, resource control, national security, and so much else that have fractured our nation and hindered our progress and prosperity. Our job is to produce a constitution that turns the page on our past, yet heeds its many painful lessons. It is not an easy task, but it is a necessary and urgent one.
So it's a dilemma, a logjam. The Speaker of the House of Reps described the Constitution as below standard. So where do we go from here? The Senate Committee on the Senate have been talking about this over the past few days, and we had a conversation about what next for Nigeria. If you have a faulty document that guides our activities as a people, where do we go from here? Tonight, I'm being joined by the member of the House of Representatives at that public hearing today. He's also the chairman of the House Committee on Defense, Honorable Jimmy Benson. He's a member of the House of Reps in Lagos. And interestingly, is the fact that he's a member of House Committee on, or the chairman of the House Committee on Defense, himself and some of his colleagues were in the United States, and on an official capacity will be telling us what went down today. But before we go to the honorable member, there are a lot of people who are already talking about this process. What exactly do we want as a people? Some ethnic nationalities are already talking. And you remember what happened yesterday and day before yesterday, when some leaders say that what we need is not an amendment. Allow you to listen to some of these leaders and what their thoughts are on the constitution amendment. Take a listen to them.
It is the firm contention of Afenifere that 1999 Constitution is a fraud. President Buhari now asks us to amend a constitution we never make. Afenifere believes country needs a brand new constitution.
Call for self-determination within a federation is actually restructuring or devolution of power or decentralization, name it anything. The evolution of Nigeria today calls for devolution of power.
The South will be ready to have the next president. Without that, no Nigeria. So the purpose of this meeting today, one, we want restructuring of Nigeria.
Well, you heard some of these leaders of the ethnic nationalities, where they say that the ethnic nationalities are the owner of the land. So let's speak with my guest who joins us from GRA area of Ikeja in Lagos. Thank you, Honorable, for joining us tonight. Before we get into the conversation, I know a lot of people were talking about your trip to the United States, your committee, and what you went there to do. I understand is in relation to the Super Tucano aircraft that Nigeria wants from the United States. What are the details? If you can tell us in brief, quickly, please.
Oh, thank you. We visited where the aircraft were manufactured, and we got firm commitments from the manufacturer that the weapons will be delivered by the end of June 6, then the other 6 by the end of September. They spoke highly of our personnel who are going to be manning the weapons, and it also informed us that those weapons are game changers. They will be armed with arms and will have a lot of precision, which would also reduce civilian mortality. They believe that it's a sign of good things to come between the U.S. and the Nigerian counterparts, and also open doors to the U.S. assisting Nigeria in its fight against insurgency. So it was a very successful trip, and we look forward to receiving the aircrafts by the end of June.
That sounds like good news for our military, because this is what the government has promised. Nigeria spent a lot of money on this Super Tucano from the days that President Donald Trump was in office. But let's take a breather. And when we come back, we jump right into the conversation on amending the Constitution to be or not. What is a way forward for Nigeria? We'll be right back, everyone. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. In most parts of the country, especially in some parts of the, in some region, the House of Representatives today began the public hearing on the Constitution amendment, and that's our conversation tonight. Honorable Jimmy Benson, Chairman of the Defense Committee in the House and a member of the House of Representatives representing Lagos. He was at the Lagos Center today, and we're discussing the way forward for Nigeria. So let's get started on that, Honorable. You heard some leaders of the ethnic nationalities saying that we do not need an amendment. What we need is an overhaul. We need a new constitution. They're asking for restructuring, rejigging. That is what they say is a way forward for Nigeria. You heard what the speaker said. He said that the constitution is below standard. Do you think that is the right way to go to amend when even the speaker says what we have is below standard? If you have something that is below standard, don't you just need to change it altogether?
Thank you very much, Seun Okibaloye, and thank you, viewers. What we need is we need Nigeria to run efficiently. And how do we go about that? We need to ensure that the working document we have, the Constitution, we need to do it in a way to make it nimble, to make it efficient, to make it meet the needs and aspirations of Nigerians. A lot of contributions were made today by the youth, by the labor, by ordinary Nigerians, by women groups, and we saw passion, we saw the fact that they all believe in Nigeria being together. Nigeria is a union of heterogeneous people, and as we speak today, a lot of people believe that there is no balance, there is no fairness, there is no justice. The reason why we're having this public hearing and why we need to amend the Constitution, which we believe it's the fierce urgency of now, we need to make everybody have a sense of belonging in how things can be done. A lot of issues were addressed today, and I don't know if it's the time to start elaborating on those issues, but I'll wait for you to respond and I can go into more details of what we did today.
Great. We will get into that because Nigerians will want to know the priority areas. But a quick one is the big question on the minds of a lot of Nigerians. Can Nigerians get the commitment from this 9th National Assembly? You are a leader in that 9th National Assembly. The big question is whether or not the way the 7th and the 8th National Assembly amendment process went, they are afraid that this might go in the similar manner. The speaker spoke about a commitment, but how do we ensure, or how can Nigerians watching you right now be guaranteed that this will not go to waste and is not going to go under some shelves gathering dust?
Yes, I'll throw that back to Nigerians. We will do as much as we can to make things work. We will be able to deliberate on independent candidacy. We will be able to deliberate on devolution of powers. We will be able to deliberate on local government autonomy. We will be able to deliberate on reducing the exclusive list. We'll be able to deliberate on state police. We'll be able to deliberate on creating a special status for my beloved and our beloved Lagos. It is up to, we'll put it to votes, where we're hoping we'll be able to use our electronic voting system in the National Assembly. Every Nigerian will know how their representatives voted. But it doesn't end at that. Nigerians would also need to go to their state house of assemblies to ensure that the state assemblies pass what is the will of the people. The people need not be passive at this time, because there's a classic saying that the people in government are less or not as great as the people outside of the government. Those people outside of the government must sit and ensure that everything that is passed in the National Assembly, they follow to their state assemblies and ensure that they get a yes vote to their aspirations. So it's a symbiotic relation. We will do our bit. The state assemblies have to do their bit. Then it goes to Mr. President for his signature. And if he doesn't sign on certain issues, we also exercise the power to veto.
Oh, that sounds like good news to the ears of a lot of people, because, you know, in the process of lawmaking, it is not what the people want at the end of the day, it's what is being passed And the last assent, you know where that is, the political will of the government of the day or the president to put all of what everyone has said into his assent and assent to it. So that's a question a lot of people are raising, that what we saw in the 7th and the 8th National Assembly will not happen to this one. But the question is, the Senate told us that you are going to single out some very critical aspect of this amendment such that you're not going to lump it together, and when it's not assented, everything is now thrown away. Is that the same reasoning that the House of Reps is giving this process?
Yes, that's what we're doing. We're doing piecemeal legislation. We're not lumping everything together so that if Mr. President doesn't like an item, everything, the baby is thrown away with the bathwater. We're going to single out independent candidature. We're going to pass it. We're going to send it in a single manner to the State House of Assemblies. So if they say yes or no, it doesn't affect the other propositions we're going to be sending to them. So like I've also said, the people outside of government are greater than the people in government. Whatever the people want, once we pass it from our end, once the State Assembly passes it, it may be very difficult for Mr. President to veto. Nigeria of the 7th Assembly and 8th Assembly is different from that of the 9th Assembly. People are more aware. People are agitated. Ethnic nationalities are getting stronger by the day. So the only singular bullet we have now to put Nigeria back together is this process we're undertaking, where Mr. Speaker has put all his faith, all his hope, all his strength on this. And we assure Nigerians that at the end of the day, the document we have, the document we're going to produce, will be one that will meet with their aspirations and their yearning. The political will is here from our side. We need to start putting smiles on the faces of our people. They've suffered a lot, even with all the depression, suppression. Nigeria still remains the biggest economy in Africa. Now imagine if we restructure or we add this request they are requesting for. We add it to our constitution and make it more robust. This country has a lot of yearnings, a lot of positive things to still contribute to the Committee of Nations.
So I had a guest discussing this matter, the lawyer, Dele Farotimi, and he spoke about legitimacy and legality. He raised question about the legitimacy of the National Assembly in this process, in what he described as the fact that the National Assembly has the legality to do this, but does not, but lacks the legitimacy. And he explained simply that the military forced this constitution down on us. And according to him, he says it's a fraud. It's not only him referring to this constitution as a fraud. And he said to us that you cannot build anything on a fraud. Are you also in the National Assembly thinking of a possibility of a committee of the ethnic nationalities sitting down at the round table discussing with the political leadership of this country, because the security situation and the state of the nation and the contemporary situation we are facing now is totally different from what we faced 3 years ago or 5 years ago? Is the National Assembly sensitive enough to those kind of yearnings and to those sensibilities that you need to speak to or react to?
Sheol, we have 360 members of parliament, each member representing a constituency. The constituents elected those members to represent their interests. The representative also understands where the shoe pinches. So I believe if we are going to move forward and move forward in a nimble and fast manner, we should make do with what we have. We should ensure that every proposal, every memoranda that is sent to us already encompasses what the ethnic nationalities are going to be talking about. We already have in our custody the El Rufai report. We have the 2014 confab report put together by the last administration. We're all going to sit on this. We're all going to bring out the meat, the good things, the good attributes out of those documents. And we are promising Nigeria that the 7th Assembly, the 8th Assembly is different from the 9th Assembly. Things have really, really moved to the thin edge. And we understand this. We don't like how Nigeria is drifting. We want to pull Nigeria back from the insecurity, the mistrust, the misgivings we have. And we are assuring Nigerians that this constitutional process we're embarking upon will assuage and make Nigerians great again. It's one that will restructure us. It's one that will foster unity. It's one that will foster prosperity for the goodness of everyone.
So we're going to leave now because we are totally out of time. But as a final word to Nigerians, based on what is happening right now in the country, the House of Reps had a security summit. Can you give us, perhaps in order of priority, the priority areas that you're focused on in the House of Reps public hearing? Just in 30 seconds.
Yes, number one, we're focusing on the fiscal autonomy. We focused on making Section T justiciable, that is being able to take the government to court for not providing amenities to Nigerians. We're focusing on the revenue allocation formula. The federal government gets 52% of the revenue. We believe that is a lot. We want to give more to the local government. The local government should be more functional. It is when the local governments function that Nigeria will begin to function. For instance, the local government chairman should be able to do well and compete with the sister local government and be able to even aspire to be governor of the state based on the works he's done as a local government. We recall in America in 2011, Mayor Giuliani, a local government chairman, ran to be president because of his good works. Now that doesn't obtain in Nigeria. We also looked at creating a special status, an economic zone for Lagos State. Because when Lagos State sneezes, Nigeria catches cold. We need to...
All right, sorry, we're out of time, Honorable.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, but we are out of time. But I must sincerely thank you, Honorable Jimmy Benson, member of the House of Representatives from Lagos State and the chair of the House Committee on Defense. Thank you, Honorable Member, for talking to us right here on Channels Television.
Thank you very much.
And that's our show for today, everyone. Many thanks for watching. Bye-bye.